number 5.
From Las Vegas, taped live at the fabulous Stratosphere Hotel and Casino, Pat Gold Productions proudly presents professional gambler John Patrick.
Hello and welcome to the show So You Want to Be a Gambler 2022. I am your co-host, Miss Megan, and tonight's show is All Right Bettors Die Broke. Our special guest tonight is author, professional gambler, and sports handicapper, Mr. John Patrick. He'll be on the show to answer your questions. So let's get started. Your host, G-Man, aka G-Crap, and author of the Platinum Craps and Dice Setting book, straight from Las Vegas, let's welcome Garrison.
As Viva Las Vegas, bright light city, gonna send my soul. All right, we got a lot of cameras going on. We got a lot of action tonight. Well, a lot of people have asked me to do a show on don't betting. So tonight's going to be a show that I think you'll really find interesting. We'd also like to welcome all of our subscribers and our new members. We've had quite a few people over the last couple months. We are going to be bringing in John Patrick, and we're going to be answering all your questions. I see people are already checking in, so we'll try to put your questions up and some of your comments up on the screen. So let me see if we can get John, and he's going to be in Florida. John, are you on the line?
Right here.
All right, here's John Patrick, guys. So we're going to talk about the advantages of playing and betting on the dump side. John can jump in anytime he wants. If he has something to say, and if you have a question, please leave a question for John or myself. And of course, you can always say hello to Miss Megan. And since it is summer, one of our members, Dan, sent me a really nice shirt. It has my name on it. Garrison Russell has the Platinum Craps and Dice Setting logo on he had made. So thumbs up to Dan. I thought since the summer's happening, it's about 100 degrees in Vegas, I thought I'd wear that tonight. So let me bring up the book real quick. You know, there's an old saying in gambling circles: all right bettors die broke. The don't comes up anywhere from 48 to 52% of the time. So we're going to cover some ways to play, how to put yourself in a better position, and how to use dice setting when you're betting on the don't side as well. So most of the books always tell you the same thing. I've got so many books, and they all tell you the same thing. Make a don't pass line bet, then take the maximum odds you can, et cetera, et cetera. And they say, well, now you're utilizing the don't to the best of your ability. Well, it's just not true, and we're going to get into it. And let me say up front, I don't think all these authors and all these mathematicians put all this stuff in by mistake. They just haven't sat down and worked out the return on investment. We did a show called Casino Math versus Real Math. If you haven't seen it, go to Garrison Craps on YouTube, check it out. But we explained that once you get on the don't side, by not laying odds, they have to pay you 100% return on investment. The more odds you lay, the less your return on investment. But the books never talk about that. So I'm going to go to the table real quick, and I'm just going to come in on the side so I can just see what's going on. You know, it's not a question of if the 7 is going to come up. It's a question of when is the 7 going to come up. You know, you've heard that before. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. There's basically 4 types of tables. You've got your hot table, which is everyone's favorite. We love it, but that only happens about 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 11 games. There's your cold table. Like I said, that comes up about 48 to 52% of the time. There's the choppy table, back and forth, and that favors the don't better. And then there's a table that I came up with. I put it in the Platinum Craps book called the torpedo table. And we've all been to those tables. That's when wherever you make a bet, it comes up opposite. You bet the pass line, the shooter 7's out. You bet on the don't, the shooter makes his point. There's a yin and yang in the universe, and you have to get on the right side of that energy. So if you find yourself at a torpedo table and you're losing 3 or 4 bets, just get out. Okay, there's always another game coming. All right, so here's what I did. I'm at the table, and these are 36 chips. And what they do is they represent 36 combinations on a set of dice. All right, you can win with the 7, which is 6 chips. And you can win with the 11, which is 2 chips. So you have 8 ways out of 36 combinations to win. Well, that breaks down to 22.22%. I always have a calculator when I'm teaching. I've already worked it out for you. So that leaves 28 ways. You're not going to roll a 7 or 11 on the first roll. That comes out to 77.77%. And 4 of those you're going to lose with the 2, 3, and 12. The other 24 are going to be your point numbers that you now have to roll twice. So everyone says, well, gee, I can win on the 7-11. Yeah, 8 ways to win, 28 ways not to win, 4 ways to lose. So that's why the don't can be very effective, and the house loves being on the don't. In fact, I'm just going to make a little visual here for you, because sometimes people like to see visual over using the calculator. Let's say you have 4 chips. These are $100 chips. And you have 4 empty cups. Cup 1, cup 2, cup 3, and cup 4. All right? Now you're on the pass line of the come. Let's say the pass line. You put a $100 chip on the pass line. Remember, this will be 25, 50, 75, 100%. The first roll, you lose. All right? Then you put another $100 chip on the pass line. Remember, you only have 8 ways to win. You lose again. Then you put another $100 on the pass line. You lose again. Then you put another $100 on the pass line. Well, this time you win. So you made 4 bets, you won 1, and you lost 3. Well, how long are you going to be at the table if you're only winning 1 out of 4 bets, and these rest of these bets are now number bets that you have to roll twice to win? All right. So everyone thinks the pass line and the come bet is such a great bet, but in reality, it's a lot tougher than people think. All right. In the last show, we also talked about a system that I read about in this book. They called it the 5 count. All right. I don't know if you have the book, but it says that if you start on the don't pass line, 57% of the shooters are going to 7 out, and then you're only going to be betting on 43% of the shooters. Well, I came up with the reverse pass line, or the reverse don't. I said, start on the don't pass line. If the shooter 7's out, you win. If the shooter gets past the 5 count, you can't take that bet off because it's not a contract bet, and you can place any of the numbers you want, or you could just place it on the pass line. So if the shooter 7's out, you win. If the shooter gets past the 5 count, you can place the number. And I tried this because I wouldn't suggest something that I haven't tried. So I actually tried this at the casino, and I played about 5 or 6 games. I won the first 4 betting on the don't because the shooter 7'd out in the first 5 rolls. Then the shooter got past the 5 count, so I took my bet off. I placed the number, and I think it was a 6. He rolled three more numbers, and then he still 7'd out. So remember, every system works on occasion. Every system fails on occasion. But I wanted to try the 5 count starting on the don't side, and I won the majority of those bets. All right. I tried to place the number, but he still 7'd out. All right. So again, that's something you can think of. All right, remember you have 6 master sets. And if you have the book, they're in the book. I made it real simple. If you don't have the book, you can get one of the dice setting strategy cards. This has all the sets, all the numbers. So there's 6 sets. I'm going to come back to, let me come back to okay. All right. Pull up anyone you want. All right, just you should be able to click it right here. You just click in the middle. There you go. All right, there's Dan right there. We're going to put up some of your statements. I'll have Miss Megan do that if we have any questions. But anyways, I was saying that there's 6 master sets. They're all in the book. You should know them by now. 4 of them work for the do shooter. All right, based on your point. 2 of them work for the don't shooter. And remember, every dice set has an A side and a B side. All right. I was talking to somebody on one of the Facebook groups. I think it was Any Craps. All right. And I said to the gentleman, just learn your 6 master sets, and that'll help you in the game. And I said, there's 4 on the do side, 2 on the don't side. Well, he sent me back this note, and he says, well, I have a spreadsheet of 576 sets. I said, 576 sets? It's mathematically impossible to get 576 sets on 2 dice that only have 6 sides. So I said, okay, sir, if your point is 5, what set do you use? Do you use set 145? Do you use set 247? Do you use set 389? Or do you use set 569? What set do you use? And he said, well, I don't really know. I said, well, listen, if you learn your 6 master sets, it'll make it real simple, okay? And we did a show called The Truth About Dice Setting. So go to YouTube, check out The Truth About Dice Setting. But basically it works out to you have an A side and you have a B side. If you put the A side and the B side together, that's your master set. Now some people also say, well, I could put the B side together and the A side from the other dice. That's true. You could also put the 2 A sides together, in this case the 2 1s, or you could put the 2 B sides together. It's all the same set because you all have the same 16 combinations on a set of dice. So these guys try to make it so complicated. There's 6 master sets. There's 4 sets within the master set. AB, BA, AA, BB. If you take 6 times 4, what is it? 24. You know there's 16 combinations to every set. 24 times 16 is 384 combinations, not different sets, because they say every time you turn one die, one click, it's a new set. Well, it's not, because you're still working with the same inside access numbers. So that's really, really important. And, that's why we put the super system together, because it breaks it down so easy for you. Do we have any questions yet? If not,
No, just
okay.
statements.
A lot of statements. You can put up a couple statements if you want. Just say, all right, these are guys just checking in. Okay. Oh, hello to Mid-Atlantic Craps. I haven't talked to those guys in a while. Okay. Whalen Craps. All right, so let's get into it a little bit. If you have the book, and if you don't have the book, get it. It'll help you out. But let's say you're going to start on the don't pass. All right. The first thing you want to do is figure out what numbers you want on the don't pass. They're the 4, the 5, the 9, and the 10. I'm going to go back to the table. All right. So if you're playing on the don't pass, you really want 4, 5, 9, and 10 as your point. There's 2 sets that'll give you those numbers, and they're in the book, and they're also on the dice setting strategy card. Okay, all you have to do is put the right set together, and you'll get the 4, 5, 9s, and 10s. All right. Then after you establish your don't point, I love to come through the don't come box for a couple bets. All right. It's a great way to get a couple extra numbers. Now, why do you think the don't come box is so small, but the come section takes up half the table? Well, the casinos want you betting the come, and we've talked about the come a number of times. You can go to Casino Math versus Real Math, watch that show. But the don't come bet favors the player after you get that number behind the number, or that bet behind the number. Plus, you can hedge bet it if it's an even number, 4, 6, 8, and 10. You can hedge bet it. We talk about that. All right. So after you get, let's say your point's 5. Let's say you get 2 don't come bets. Now, there's 2 sets to 7 out. All right. They're in the book. I did a whole dice setting strategy card. I go over it. One set only gives you one way to make the 4, 6, 8, and 10. And 4 ways to win with the 7. So you've got 4 ways to win with the 7. Only 1 way to roll the 4, 6, 8, and 10. And are you ready for this, guys? 0. 0 ways to roll the 5 and the 9. So now the odds are 4-0 in your favor. Now that's using dice setting. This probably wouldn't affect John too much because John's not a dice setter, but I know he read the book and he understands the math. So I show you how to set up the sets to have 4 ways to win, 1 way to lose with the 4, 6, 8, and 10, and you can hedge that, and 0 ways to roll the 5 and 9. Guys, these are the best odds you're ever going to get. Let me just shoot this up for a second. Okay, I want to come in, see if I can get back. Okay. All right, so do you understand? These are the best odds you're ever going to get at dice setting. From the do side, and we've gone over this before, but I have a lot of new members and a lot of new subscribers. Again, there's a program on YouTube called The Truth About Dice Setting. From the do side, you have 3 ways to roll the 6, 3 ways to roll the 8, 2 ways to roll the 4, 5, 9, and 10, and only 2 ways to roll the 7. So the odds are 3-2 in your favor by using dice setting, and even money 2-2 for the 4, 5, 9, and 10. That's the best you can get on the do side. On the don't side, you have 4 ways to roll the 7, only 1 way to roll the 4, 6, 8, and 10, and 0 ways to roll the 5 and the 9. How can you argue with those odds? And people come to my classes and say, well, I want to be the best player I can get. I want the best odds I can get at the table. I say, learn how to shoot on the don't side. They go, oh, the don't side. No, I can't do that. I can't bet on the don't side. I go, well, you said you wanted the best odds. And here's a big myth. Say you're at the table and somebody puts a bet on the don't pass line side. Everybody gets upset. Oh, you're ruining my energy, and you're ruining the energy of the table, blah, 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 blah. Well, first of all, he's not rolling the dice. You are. Second of all, every time you make a don't pass line bet or a don't come bet, the house is on the pass line side, all right? If you're on the pass line side, the house is on the don't. And I've never heard a shooter ever say to the dealers or the boxmen, well, I'm going to bet the pass line. You're on the don't. You're ruining my game. It's all superstition and mumbo jumbo. Do you understand? So if you're making a bet on the pass line, the house is the don't. But if you make a bet on the don't, now the house is the pass line, and you get the advantage. All right? They don't like to see a lot of don't bettors and a lot of don't come bettors. So, Miss Megan, I haven't been looking at the questions. What do we have?
got one.
All right, here's a question. My question is using hot bets on the don't side. Is there a special way? Yeah, Dan, there's definitely a special way. Here's what I want you to do. I know you have the book. Hot betting is basically figuring out, the first thing you got to do with hot betting is figure out what number you want to hop. All right? And then the second thing you have to know about hot betting is what set to use. So I did a whole section, I did a whole chapter called Will I Roll Easy or Will I Roll Hard? This is for the hot bettors. Then I took all the 6 sets, 4 sets for the do shooter and the 2 sets for the don't shooter, and I broke it down and gave you every combination. There's one set that gives you all the hard ways. There's one set that gives you the hard 4 or the hard 6 and the hard 8. There's one set that gives you the hard 4 and the hard 10. There's one set that doesn't give you any hard ways. There's 2 sets that give you 4 ways for the 7. One of those sets gives you 1 way for the 4, 6, 8, and 10. The other set gives you 4 ways for the 7, no 5 and 9. And there's 2 sets that give you 8 ways for the field and 8 ways for not the field. So what you have to do is a little bit of studying. Go to page 77 and 78. Look at the numbers you want to hop. You know, if you want to be 1 dominant, you want to be 6 dominant, you want to be hard ways, and then just take a look at those charts and it'll tell you exactly what set to use for the numbers you want to hop. It does take a little bit of, studying, but it's not that hard, okay? You know, I wrote this whole book for Geranimals for adults, and these guys make it so complicated. They say, well, you know, I want to know what number's on the right side. I want to know what number's on the left side. Do you really care if, well, this is my left, you're right. Do you really care if the 5's on one side and the 1's on the other side, or the 1's on the other side and the 5's on the other side? They all pay the same, you know, so don't get so overcomplicated and try to overcomplicate it. Learn your 6 master sets. That's the key. That's the foundation. If you don't know your 6 master sets, you're never going to be a good dice setter. You're never going to get into hot betting. What else do we have, Miss Megan? Put something else up. Here's something. You read it out.
What percentage does Mr. Garriston stay on access with any dice set with his rolls? That's
a great question. I go over this in my class. Great question. I would say that if you're staying on access 50% of the time, you're doing well. All right? You're never going to stay on access 100% of the time. So I tell my students, try for at least 50%. Remember, if you stay on access 50% of the time, there's 16 combinations. On the do side, you can narrow it down to 2 ways for the 7, 14 ways for no 7. And here's a little trick. When you're just starting, start out with your 6-1-6-1 set. Put the 1 on one side, the 6 on the other. You've got 6-1 on the inside, you got 6-1 on the outside. You can have your hard ways on top, you can have your all 7s on top. I don't care. But throw 5 sets of dice down the table. You don't want to see 1s and 6s. If you see 2, 3s, 4s, and 5s, guess what, skill and luck? You're on access. If you see a 1 or a 6, you went off access. So if you throw 10 dice down the table and you see 1, 6, and 1, 8, well, that means 8 of them were on access. That's 80%. Okay? For my new students, I say we're going to start out at 50%. Once they use the 6-1-6-1 set and throw dice down the table, then we'll get into the other sets, okay? You can also take a pair of dice and glue them together just to get your muscle memory and get the feel of the dice. But that's an excellent question. I say start at 50%. All right, Miss Megan, what do we have?
What set would you use for 330 inside with field 96
Okay, yeah, with the 5-6. All right, there's a set in the book. I love it. If you don't have the book, get it. All right. I put 5s and 9s all the way around, but it also gives you 3 ways for the 6, 3 ways for the 8. So you got 3 ways for the 6, 3 ways for the 8, 2 ways for the 5, 2 ways for the 9, 2 ways for the 7. That gives you all your inside numbers. And the set's in the book. You can go on Amazon, you can go on our website, you can check us out. And guys, it costs less than a place bet, okay? So go on platinumcraps.com, and I give you all the photographs, okay? And when you go on Amazon.com, I give you 1 dice setting card with the book. I give you 5 with the super system. And I know guys that put this in their chip rack. It gives you all the numbers 2 through 12. It gives you all the combinations of how you're going to make those numbers. And it gives you the inside access numbers for all the sets. So one side has all the do sets. You flip it over. It's got all the sets for the don't side. My little 10-year-old niece can set the dice for any number you want. 4, 5, 6, the 7, the 8, the 9, the 10 in under 5 seconds. And what did she do? She memorized her 6 sets. That's it. It's not that hard. I mean, it's like Geranimals for adults if you get the right information. So, all right, what do we have? John, are you there? I just wanted to see if you wanted to add anything to that about the don't side, or I know the dice setting part of it's not your forte, but if you wanted to add anything about playing on the don't side. I am going to show one of your clips from the intermediate class, which I think they're going to find very interesting. And guys, if you have a question for John, because he's the master, definitely write in and we'll get right to it. So anyways, so anytime you want to jump in, John, or anything you want to say on the don't side. If not, I'm going to play a clip from your intermediate class that actually talks. You're showing them the don't side, and you're showing them why you don't want to lay odds, but you are showing them how to lay odds on the when you're doing a don't come bet. So let me see if I can get this up for you guys. All right, this is from John's intermediate class. Now, all this is on flash drive, guys. We've got 5 hours of instruction on flash drive. The beginning class, the intermediate class, the advanced class, and the super professional class. You know, John did these classes dollar for dollar. They're the best in the business. I mean, I've seen everything out on the market. I've read all the books. I know who's out there. So give me a second, because I've got to cue this up, and I've got to get it to a certain point, and then we'll come back and talk to John about his intermediate class. All right, so.
I took the $4. I'm increasing my bet all the way to 1, don't side. I'm going to show you how to play from the don't side properly. We're going to be going over sophisticated systems for the heavy hitter and very basic systems for the wrong hitter. You take a look, okay? You know what we're going to do is we're going to talk about don't betting. Now, don't betting, it's a style of betting against the dice. What you're really doing, the people who bet on the pass line, they're called right bettors. People who bet against the dice are called wrong bettors. This is called a simple don't pass system. Now, the dice are coming out. There's people betting the pass line all around the table. Let's suppose I'm going to bet don't pass. You put your $5 on the don't pass line. On the come out roll, just opposite to the right betting, if the 7 or 11 comes, you lose. If the 2 or 3 comes, you win. You see this word here, it says don't pass, bar 12. It doesn't say don't pass bar. You're not playing the don't pass bar. You are not playing the don't pass bar. You're playing the don't pass, and you're barring the 12. So on the come out roll, even though the right bettors lose on the 12 as a crap, the wrong bettors do not win on 12 because they're barring the 12. Some casinos bar the 2. If you see a casino that bars a 1-2, don't play there, because the 3 can be made 2 ways, 2-1, 1-2, and the 2 aces or the 12 can be made 1 way. So if they bar the 3, don't play there. Anyhow, the dice came out. Pick a number, John. 6 was the point. I really didn't want the 6, but this is what's going to happen. The taking of odds on the right side is based on how many ways you can make that number as opposed to the 7. So if I was going to take odds behind the line, I would take $5 odds and be paid 6 to 5 because the odds against me is 6 to 5. The opposite true, John, let me have some white chips. Thanks. If I was going to bet on a don't pass, after the point is established, I am now going to lay odds. And the way I lay odds is based on the number of ways you can make the 7, which is 6, as opposed to the number of ways you can make that particular number. So the 6 or 8 can be made 5 ways. So I am going to drop this on the table. I'm going to, oh, by the way, you can touch your odds bets here. I am going to lay $6 odds against the 6 because the odds are 6 to 5 against me. John, how do you set it up here in the stratosphere?
Just like that.
Okay, do it. Some casinos will do it this way here, off to the side, but I grew up like this, laying it put on top. The 6 and the 8, the odds are 6 to 5. Let's suppose the point was 8. It's the same thing, 6 to 5. Suppose the point was 5 or 9. The odds on the 5 or 9 is 3 to 2, 6 to 4, or 9 to 6. So I am going to lay odds of 3 to 2 in any increments I want, up to the amount that they will let you lay. In this case here, suppose you're a basic bettor, I am going to lay $9 odds against the 6. I beg your pardon, against the 9 or the 5. So the odds are 9 to 6. Let's suppose the 7 comes. Of course, if the number comes, I'm going to lose. But suppose the number comes. Watch what John pays me.
When we do it this way, we do it like this.
Oh, they did sit that. Okay, always say, yeah, show me. This is where they lay the odds on a 5 or 9. See what he did? He paid me $5, even money, for my no 9. It's a good bet. I'm getting paid even money, even though the odds are 6 to 4 in my favor. That's a good bet. But you got to get past the 7 or 11 on the come-out roll. Then he paid me $6 for my $9 odds bet. Let's suppose the point was 4 or 10. Point was 4, I'm going to lay odds, $10 odds. The 7 comes in. He's going to pay me $5 for my no bet. He's going to pay me $5 for my 10 to 5 lay bet. He's paying me the true odds, what I'm putting on the table. I put $10 on the table. He paid me 5. If I put $20 odds, he'd pay me 10, and so on. He'd pay me 1 to 2 because the odds are 1 to 2. Okay, now I've walked up to this table. The point became a 4. I placed $5 on the don't pass, and when the point became a 4, I want to lay the odds. I don't lay the odds because I like odds. I do not like odds. Odds are a dumb, stupid bet. Why would you go to all the trouble of establishing a point right now? Suppose I establish 4 as my point. I have the 4 for $5. Let's suppose a guy standing next to me also made a bet on a don't pass, and he laid odds. Let's suppose the 7 comes in. John is going to pay me $5 for my pass, pay me $5 for $5. He's going to pay this other guy $5 for his pass line bet and 5 for 10. That means he is risking $15 to win 10. I'm risking 5 to win 5. Why did he put an extra $10 out for 5? I'll never understand it. I do not lay odds unless it's for a purpose.
All right, I just wanted to put a little bit in from one of the shows, one of the classes on betting from the don't. Now, if you have John's book, there's the advanced book, which is the cut down version, and then we have the 600-page Holy Grail. This is the one we have on the internet. And here's just some of the chapters you're gonna read that nobody else has. Okay. Betting the don't, the vig on the don't, when to lay, simple don't pass, 2-number don't, laying behind, a 3-number don't, variations on bet, wrapping up the simple don't, hedging the 6 and 8, understanding the don't, the ricochet system. This is more for advanced players. We're not going to get into it tonight, but I love it. Analyzing the ricochet. And in my dice setting video, I gave you a hedge bet on the ricochet that wasn't available back when John was teaching because they didn't have it on the table. But you can hop the number on the ricochet. You'll have to watch the video. 41 no 10, hedging to 41 no 10. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. There's about 250 pages in this book just on betting on the don't side. And you go pick any of the books that you have in your collection, I'll bet you there's 2 pages on the don't. And here's what they're going to tell you. Bet the don't pass line bet and take the maximum odds, lay the maximum odds. Why? Because you're getting a lower house edge. Well, you know what we say about lower house edge?
No!
It doesn't matter,
No!
right? It's all about ROI, return on investment. The house edge doesn't matter. And guess what, guys? There's no house edge on a losing bet. So, John, we just played part of your class from the intermediate class on the don't side. And just wanted to know if you wanted to add anything to that.
Well, it's a funny thing, John.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's a funny thing for you people that are craps players. It always amazes me. You could walk into a casino and walk up and down the aisles where the crap tables are, and you walk up to a craps table. Excuse me. There's room for about 12 to 14 people, 6 or 7 on each side. Well, let's suppose we walk to a full table. There's 9 people playing the don't, and 4 people or 5 people playing the do side, and 4 people or 5 people playing the don't. You go up to another table where I'll be charting the table. You got to chart the tables before you play. When you get up in the morning and decide to go to the casino, you decide, are you going to be a right better or a wrong better? Wrong better meaning a don't better. Now, you've got to decide that ahead of time. The way I decided is if I won the previous time I went to the casino by betting on the do, then I will go there with the intention of being a do better. I'm betting with the right side. So I chart the tables. If you don't chart the tables, if you don't stand there and watch 3, 4, 5, 6 games before you buy in, you haven't got a chance in the world of winning a gambling. You've got to chart the tables, which means look to see the trends. In gambling, trends dominate. If you would have, well, most of you should know, if you ever listen to me, there are 4 things you need when you gamble. Bankroll, knowledge, money management, and discipline. Bankroll, you got to have enough money. You can't go to the casino with $500 and bet the $25 line. You get $25, suppose you go with $600. You're a $5 better. You break that $600 into 3 tables of 200 apiece. You set a win goal and a loss limit. And then you chart the table to see if it is going in the direction you predetermined the bet, which in this case is a right better. Well, tonight Gary wanted to go with wrong betting or don't betting. I don't know why the percentage of people who play the don't is about maybe 18 to 22%. And the majority of people bet the right side. Yet if you look at the table, if you look at the dice, if you look at the whole ensemble of a craps table, think about it. When you bet the don't side, you wait for a shooter to establish a point. As soon as the shooter either dice, you can't win. If a 4 comes on either dice, you can't win. 4, 5, and 6 are going to kill you. And multiply by 2 because there's 2 dice. I don't know why people play the do side. And Gary spent a lot of time explaining to you the power of betting on the don't side and your chances of winning. Your chances of winning increase as the number drops as the point. If the number is 4 and you look at one dice of the 2 to come out in a subsequent game, if the number is 4, 5, or 6, you can't win. And then reverse it to the other dice, 4, 5, or 6. It's so easy. If the dice come out 3, the only way you're going to win that point of 4 is if a 1 comes on the other dice. The odds are 5 to 1 against you. I never understand why people run to the right side when playing the don't side, like Gary explained to you tonight. And forget that word vigorous. Put that out of your mind forever. Oh, vigorous. Oh, boy, I got the vigorous down to 0.3%. Oh, your nose, you got it down. You didn't get nothing. You still got to make that 4. And if one of the dice comes out as a 4, a 5, or a 6, you're not going to win it. So learn about the reality of playing. Think about what Gary said about playing the don't side. He gave you a terrific explanation. And he himself even said it. We didn't talk about this. He even said himself, forget the vigorous. You didn't do anything by, what do you call it, reducing your vigorous. You didn't increase your chances of winning. You reduced the vigorous against you, which doesn't increase your chances of winning.
Well, here's what I did, John.
How many people that are asking a question?
Yeah, here's what I did. I'm going to get to some more questions, but I know you can't see it. I'll send you a copy. But on page 43 of the book, I put a chart in the book that tells you what your percentage is of rolling a 7. Now, the first roll is 16.67. That's easy. There's 6 out of 36 combinations. But then the second roll, it goes up to 30.56. The third roll, it goes up to 42.13. On the fifth roll, there's a 59.81% chance a 7 is going to show. And by the 10th roll, there's an 83, almost 84% chance that the 7 is going to roll. Now, obviously, everybody wants to make their point and roll the 7 on the come-out roll. But when you're shooting on the don't side, the longer the game goes, the higher the percentage of the 7 showing is going to come up. And I put the chart in there. If you get to 20 rolls, the percentage that a 7 is going to show is 90, almost 98%. So again, it's not a question of if the 7 is going to show. It's a question of when the 7 is going to show. It's been, as John says, 7's been coming since.
Also, people will listen to what he just said.
As
the
John,
longer the game goes, the better chance you have of winning if you're betting on a don't.
Right.
It's just common knowledge. It's common sense. And then this idea of vigorous, you've got to chart a table to see. Trends dominate in gambling. I just want to go back over one thing, Gary.
Go ahead.
The first 4 things you need is bankroll, knowledge, money management, and discipline.
The big
bankroll
4.
is money you take. Knowledge is knowing the game inside out. Money management, what do you bet when you win, what do you bet when you lose? And discipline is walking away from the table when you've won a certain percent or lost a certain percent. If I walk up to a table with $1,000, I'm not going to lose 1 penny more than $200. 20%. All I'm looking for is to get either a hot roll or a medium roll without the shooter making every single solitary point. If he makes 3 in a row and beats me, I walk away from that table and go to another table. Because the little 3, which is in back of the big 4, bankroll, knowledge, money management, discipline, is theory, logic, and trends. Theory is your opinion as to how you play. Logic, you do the logical thing. The logical thing is that when the point is established, it's logical, like Gary just explained to you. It's logical that you got a better chance of winning than you have of winning your don't bet than you have of losing. Because half of every single solitary dice is halfway to a 7. If people would only sit down and listen to what he just said, forget vigorous. When you are a don't better and your point is 4 or 5, if a 4 or 5 or 6 comes, you cannot lose. You're not going to lose your don't bet. The higher it is,
It's in the super system, John. It's a little complicated, but all right. So here's what I'm going to do. We got a lot of questions coming in. I'm going to throw some of them up on the screen. I know you probably can't see it because your computer's down. He's had some bad weather in Florida.
I can see the questions.
Oh, you can? Okay. So I'm going to just go back real quick.
I think I can see the question. Put one up, and I'll tell you.
Well, here I'm going to. Whoops.
Go ahead. Put one up.
Let me get to.
Read it to me.
Hang on, I gotta get out of this. All right, let me get into. Well, this one's from Harlan. I think this is more about dice setting. Does this assume you keep the dice on axis? The answer is yes. The sets I gave you are all about staying on axis. But look at if you go random, you have 7 ways for the 7. All right, so even if the dice go off axis, if you're shooting on the don't side, the odds are still in your favor. And then in the systems and the classes, we get into hedge betting. Now you can put the odds in your favor either with a small hedge bet on the hard ways, or you can get into place bets to hedge bet. I'm not going to get into it tonight. It's all in the book. But to answer your question, Harlan, yes, what we're talking about tonight is keeping the dice on axis. 4 ways for the 7, 1 way for the 4, 6, 8, and 10, and 0 ways for the 5 and 9. But if you go random, you have 7 ways to still win, so the odds are still in your favor. Let me see what else I'm going to put up here. Here's one from James. How can I prevent the dice from double pitching even though your dice are staying on axis? All right, well, a lot of this is practice. A lot of this is the way the table's rolling. Here's what I do sometimes. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll take a set. All right, say I'm doing the all 7 set. I'll just pitch 1 die, 1 click. All right. So instead of double pitching, I'll just take a die and pitch it and turn it 1 click. And sometimes that'll keep it from double pitching and 7ing out. But here's the thing. Dice setting is about 15 to 20% of the game. Everybody puts dice setting at this high pedestal. It's not. It's about 10 to 15% of the game. It's an added bonus for your game. But the big 4 and the little 3, bankroll, knowledge, money management, discipline, as John said, charting the table, that's 80 to 90% of the game. If you're charting the table and the table's smoking hot, you're not going to bet on the don't. But if it's a choppy or don't table, you don't want to bet on the do side. Bet on the don't. Remember, every system will win on occasion. And that same system will fail on occasion. So that's why charting the table is so important. All right? If you're on a don't table, you want to bet don't. You're not going to bet do. Chart it. If you're on a do table and it's rolling, you're not going to bet don't. So there's a yin and yang in the universe. The Chinese call it qi, energy. And we're going to do a show in a couple months about qi and energy. But you have to get on the right side of the table. Remember I said there's a torpedo table? If you bet on the do and the shooter 7's out, and then you bet on the don't and the shooter makes his point, you're at a torpedo table. Every bet you make is coming up opposite. Don't run or don't walk. Run to the exit. Take a break because you're never going to win at a torpedo table. Your energy is not in connection with the table. So I hope that answers the question. What else do we have, Miss Megan? Here's one for, hey, John, Dan wants to know, are you still hitting the tables? All right. Well, I know you have a table at your house. Do you get to play much anymore? Do you get to play on your own table?
Not on my own table. I practice the dice setting.
Oh, okay.
I'm not I never throw the dice, so I just do it because I love the book. You people, you can see it in the background, Platinum Dice. It's all about how to set the dice. And I'm not going to go into it because I am not a right bettor. I'm a wrong bettor. So I love this show. And when Gary talked to you about it, he just said something, shorting the table. Why would anybody who's a don't better stand at a table, lose 3 straight shooters, and still sit there betting the betting don't at a hot table, why do you stay there and bet don't? That's why charting is so important. Back to knowledge money management discipline and charting theory and trends. Charting, you have to chart the tables. So to go to a table that's going in the direction you predetermine a bet. Theory is my opinion as to how to play, and Gary's opinion how to play. I read his whole book. I wrote the foreword of it. I wouldn't put my name on his book if I didn't believe in what he said, but I am not a right bettor. I do not set the dice, but I do practice it because I talk to people about it. But I'm not an expert on that. And theory, logic, and trends. Trends, if a table is hot, you stay there until you lose 2 hit games in a row or 3, whatever you said, because trends dominate. If you're at a right table and you're betting a table that's going hot and you're betting the don't, and you lose 5 out of 6 games or 8 out of 10 games, you out of your mind. Why don't you move? You've got to follow the trend at the table. Theory, logic, and trends. Go ahead, I'll turn it back to Gary. He's more intelligent than I am.
Yeah, right. You're my mentor. All right, I see a couple of new people here. I want to just address this one comment. Okay, it says run this by Shackleford. He's the Wizard of Odds. Go to my show on YouTube. It's called Garrison Casino Math versus Real Math. We show all these books, and I actually showed the Wizard of Odds. He's one of the people that says, take a pass line bet and a come bet with odds, and you've got the best bet on the table. It's not true. And then he says, lay the maximum odds on the don't side. Well, the more odds you lay, the less your return on investment. If you don't lay any odds, they have to pay you 100% return on investment. So the more odds you lay, the less your ROI. All right. We don't care about house big. That's not what you take to the cashier's cage. When you go to the cashier's cage, they pay you in money. All right. So we're trying to take more chips to the casino, not lower house edge. In fact, we're going to have a show talking about the 8 myths of craps, and we're going to get into this. But for Mr. Bone Jones or JR709, go to your toolbar at the top, type in Garrison Casino Math versus Real Math. I actually show his book along with a bunch of other books. Okay. Well, Dan's been with us for a long time. He's a real pro. He knows about charting the table. It's so important. Okay. You don't want to fight the bad energy. Okay. Here's a gentleman, Bill. Thank you. Agrees with Mr. Patrick. Pay attention to trends. Of course, that's very important. Skill and luck. You asked me a question about the flash drive. I don't want to really get into it here, but you can email me or call me tomorrow at in the office. I'll answer all your questions. Okay. We have all the classes, or just go to the Platinum Craps and Dice Setting page, which is Platinum Craps, and you can read about the super system. It'll give you pretty much, I think I'll answer all your questions. And if you guys haven't been to the website, you just go to Platinum Craps. I had it here somewhere, but it may have gotten knocked off. Okay. So, all right, Miss Megan, what else do we have? And let's see if I have any more notes on what I want to say. Oh, yeah, talk about dice sets. All right, here. Let's say you're at the table and you're shooting from the don't side. I don't know if I can do this. I hope you can see it. But, okay, let's say you're 0.6, 6 or 8, easy point. But you want the right dice set to 7 odds. So you got 7 on the top and you got 7 on the bottom. Everybody knows that both sides are going to equal 14. Both dice equal 7, 7 on the front. So 2 times 7 is 14. So you got 7 on the top and you got 7 on the bottom. But if you don't have the right set, guys, and you're trying to 7 out, and you don't have the right set or they go off access, you could get 7 on the top and then hit your point with the hard 6. Okay, you get 7 on the top and then you hit your point with the hard 6. Well, if you're shooting from the don't, you want to have the right set, get them to where they're supposed to be, and you want 7 on the top and 7 on the bottom, and that's how you win on the don't side. So I hope that helps. Yeah, I'll pass on a comeback. Yeah, Dan just said I'll pass on the comeback. There it is. Yeah, comeback's not that great. I love the don't come though, and I'll tell you why. Because let me go to the table real quick. I do use the don't come when I'm shooting on the don't side. Okay, and we tell you how to hedge bet real quick for you newcomers. And this is in the class. Say you have $15 on the don't. Throw $1 on the 11. Okay, I don't have it on the table, but throw $1 on the 11. All right. That way you can only lose with the 7. It's going to go behind the bet. I love taking 1 or 2 don't come bets. I did a show. With what was his name? David Carlton on Same Bet, and I also did a show on High Roller Radio. They're both on our YouTube clip. And I explained how we were playing on the don't side. This was locally at Arizona Charlie's. It was just myself and a Chinese gentleman. We're playing on the don't side. I'm setting the dice for 4, 5, 9, and 10. I'm taking 1 or 2 don't come bets. Then I set the dice to 7 out. We did this for 9 games. We won 8 out of 9 games. Now that's a return on investment of 88%. It's very hard to win 8 out of 9 games on the pass line side. Try it sometime. But it wasn't that hard to win 8 out of 9 games on the don't side. All right. Well, after about 5 rolls, the boxman started to get a little upset, because we were winning all this money. And I'm making excuses. I'm saying, oh, gee, this is not the way I want to play. I'm so sorry. The dice are cold. It's just one of those tables. And he says, well, you're winning money, aren't you? I said, yeah, but this isn't the way you want to do it. It's like somebody, jumping the light at a car race and forfeiting. But we knew exactly what we were doing. We were setting the dice for 4, 5, 9, and 10. We're taking 1 or 2 don't come bets. We're setting the dice for the 7 out. There's 2 sets for the 7 out set. We 7'd out. And even if the dice go off axis, we had 6 ways to roll the 7. And we had our don't come bets hedge bet. I mean, we had the house against the wall. We were in the cat seat. And luckily, like I said, we won 8 out of 9 games. I missed 1 game because the dice, the point was 6. The dice went off axis. I made my 6. I lost the don't pass line bet. But I didn't lose any of the don't come bets because they were on other numbers. Well, after 9 games, I just colored up because we were getting too much heat. And they didn't like all this money on the don't side. They didn't like all this money on the don't come side. They didn't like all these hedge bets because we had the house against the wall. And think if you have a crew, all right, and you learn your dice sets. Can you imagine 4, 5, 6, 7 guys all going up playing on the don't pass line, taking a couple don't come bets and then 7 and out? The house, the boxman's going to go, what the heck's going on here? But you got the odds in your favor. And I'm telling you, less than 5% of the players know how to use these sets to their advantage. But it can be done. I've done it. I wouldn't tell you about it if I hadn't done it myself. All right, so what do we have here? What do we have, Miss Megan? Let me see if I can... John Q, when you bet don't pass in a point of 6 and 8, do you recommend to do next? Well, you can hedge that bet, we get into that in the classes. There's 2 ways to hedge: hard way bets, place bets. I like to set the dice for 4, 5, 9, and 10, get a couple don't come bets. Then I said I 7 out. So I usually have 1 don't pass line bet and either 1 or 2 don't come bets. Then I immediately go for the 7 out set. I'm trying to get my profits quick as possible. Let's see, what else? Okay. Well, there's just a bunch of hi, how are yous and, semi-comments. Let me look at my notes and see what else we have. We're getting close to the end of the show.
Hey, can I interrupt you?
Yeah, John, come on back in. John wants to say something to all the people. Go ahead.
I think there was something just come up on the screen. I forget who wrote it. But there was a question that came up. Maybe Megan put it up accidentally. But somebody wrote in and said, when you're betting a don't and 6 or 8 becomes your point, what do? I go back and increase my chances of not losing by betting a hard 6 and a hard 8. Let's suppose I start off with a don't pass bet, a simple don't pass, $10, and 6 becomes a point. I don't want making it. It gets 6 ways of making a 7. So I go back and throw a buck on the hard 6 to reduce my chances of getting a 6. Because if the 3-3 comes, I'll lose the 6 bet, but I'll win the hard 6. If the 8 becomes my point, and I'm betting on the don't, I don't want 5 ways of losing against 6 ways of winning. So my chances of winning is 6 ways with the 7, and 5 ways with the 6 or the 8. So I put a hard weight bet on the 6 or the 8, whichever is the point. I don't know who asked the question. I thought it was Schoonover, but I don't know.
It was skill.
Up on the screen.
It was skill and luck.
That's what I do. I immediately go back and reduce my chances of the 6 or 8 coming by betting the hard 6 or the hard 8. Now I have 6 ways of winning with the 7 and 4 ways of losing with the 6 or 8, because if a hard 6 or a hard 8 comes up, I reduce my chances of losing. So I'm just as strong with a 6 and 8 bet with a hard 6 or 8, just like I am with the 5 and 9, where the odds are in my favor.
Yeah, I've got it on the.
Next thing is, I think it was a guy by Bill Helms come up.
I put it up there. It's called. It was skill and luck. And what I did was, I'm on the table, John. I've got 7 chips down here. 6 for the way to roll the 7. 1 for the hard way. So your odds are now 7-4 in your favor. 7 ways to win and 4 ways to lose. All right. So again, once you're on the don't side, then you can hedge bet. I mean, you got the house against the wall, guys. I mean,
you can hedge bet and reduce your chances of winning.
Yeah, I mean, you just.
There's another thing there. That Bill Helms, I think he said, Gar.
I'm sorry, what?
Said, I believe in charting.
Oh, yeah,
Just
definitely.
gave a tremendous explanation about charting. And now Bill Helms come up and said, I agree with you. You got to chart the table.
Well, if you don't chart the table, then you're just playing random. I mean, there's an energy at the table. We're going to get into it.
Exactly right,
I mean, I wrote a whole chapter in my book called The Energy of the Universe, The Energy of the Table. And we all know that when the table's ice cold, these guys keep betting the pass line, the pass line, the pass line. And then these so-called dice setters say, well, wait until I get the dice. I'm going to change the energy of the table. You're not going to change anything. All right? The energy will change when it wants to change. You can't change the energy of the universe. You have to go along with it. And I wrote a whole chapter about it. I worked with a lady who did feng shui and energy. And we're going to do a show in a couple months about the energy of the table and the energy of the universe. And, John said years and years ago, chart the table. Get into that energy and then make your move. So you just have to do it, okay? All right, so I'll tell you what, guys. It's a little after 7. John, you want to add anything before we cut out?
Now, I hope the people listen to you. You covered a lot of things, and let me tell you people something. I've known Gary. We go way back. I mean way back. His theories and mine are exactly the same, and he gave you so much good information tonight. But I read that book, and I do not read craps books because I've written 3 of my own. But I read Platinum Craps. If you ever read a book on craps and dice setting, read Platinum Craps. Why am I promoting it? Because I read the book, and I asked him if I could put the forward in, because I like what he said. It doesn't mean that I play the way he said, because I'm a wrong bettor. Basically, I have to say that I'm a don't bettor. But what he said in that book, Platinum Craps, get that doggone book, and you'll see what I'm saying. And don't say, hey, Patrick, you're just building him up because he put you on your show. But I could say no. I enjoy him. We go way back, and I like what he said. He gave you a beautiful show tonight. I hope you wrote down some of the things he said. And I know it's mostly for the don't side, which is what I play. But his Platinum Craps is about the right side. He knows the whole game. Read the doggone book.
Well, I can tell you this: John doesn't butter up anybody. I mean, if you don't know what you're talking about, he will tear you apart. You better come to.
If I didn't like what Gary said, believe me, I'd come out and tell you.
Yeah, you better come to the
I got
table.
a whole bunch of friends. I think I got 2. So I don't care about making friends. I just anyway, get platinum craps. And if you don't like what I'm saying, hate me.
No, John, you got a lot of friends on the show. We get a lot of views. I mean, after the show, we get a lot of comments on YouTube. It'll be up on YouTube. So, all right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring in Miss Megan talking about the. All right. Let's go to a split screen. And
oh, thank God! I'd rather watch Miss Megan than watch you.
yeah, I know that. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'll come back in real quick. All right, and I'm going to bring in Miss Megan real quick so we can see her. She's got her sunglasses.
How long are you going to leave her on?
All right, so here's what we got. Miss Megan, come on over here. Okay, I'm going to put you in the.
Oh, thank God.
All right, I'm going to put you in the screen. All right, she's going to come over. What we're going to do is, since Miss Megan's just learning, and she's going to start on the don't side. We're gonna put $200 in for her on the don't side. So there's your money, Miss Megan. Okay, we'll put that in. And I always like to have some good energy. I'm gonna take my banana chip from my friends at Hawaiian Crap Shooters. Shout out to Brian and all his people. Well, we just hooked up with a new group on Facebook called Craps Hawaiian Group. So we want to say hello to all those guys. So we're going to put that in the pan. All right. Then we're going to take your lid. You got your buy-in money in there, and you've got your good luck chip in there. We're going to put the top on, and I'm going to have you use the pendulum. And then you just say, I hope I'm on the right side of the table, whether it's do or don't.
I hope I'm on the right side of the table, whether it's do or don't.
Oh, the camera locked up. How did that happen? All right. That's weird. All right. All right, try it one more time. I hope
I'm on the right side of the table, whether it's do or don't.
All right, one more time.
I hope I'm on the right side of the table, whether it's do or don't.
Well, we'll see what happens. We took her money, and look what happened, guys. She's got all this. She won all this money on the don't side. All right, we got about $400 or $500 worth of chips. For somehow we just got locked out of the table. All right, so, but she made a ton of money by playing on the don't side, by knowing her dice sets. There's about $500 in chips there. So congratulations to Miss Megan. All right, I'm going to have you go back and get ready to sign off. All right. You got your lei? Where's your
Yes,
little lei?
I got
Put your hat, get your hat on. So listen, guys, we hope you learned a little bit about the don't. It comes up 42 to 50% of the time. Let me go to a split screen here. All right. Try it. It can't hurt. Learn your hedge betting. Okay. Learn your sets. And like I said, you've got 4 ways for the 7. 1 way for the 4, 6, 8, and 10, and 0 ways for the 5 and 9. Those are the best odds you're ever going to get at the table. And even if you go random, you still got 6 ways for the 7. All right? You've got the house against the wall if you know how to bet correctly. So we want to say thanks for stopping in, guys. We hope you learned something. Check us out on YouTube. We've got Garrison Craps on YouTube. We also have Garrison, So You Want to Be a Gambler. John, I'm going to sign out, and then I'll come right back to you. I just want to say goodbye to everybody. We want to thank John Patrick. You know, he takes time out of his busy schedule. You know, he does sports handicapping. If you want to get into sports handicapping, go on the website. You know, he has a great system. Plus, he knows how to hedge bet on sports. He just doesn't bet flat games or take points. You know, he knows how to hedge bet. And I've been with him for years. It's a great way to play. So, John, thanks for joining us on the show. If you're still there. Oh,
I'm still here. Good
all
show,
right.
Gav.
All right, thank you,
When are
John.
you coming back on?
I'm sorry? What was that?
When are you coming back on?
We'll probably do a show right after July
Coming back
4th.
on with another show.
I think we're going to do a show right after July 4th. All right? And what we're going to do is we're going to do all these myths that are in all these other books. And we're just going to
I've lost you.
we're going to take each myth and then dissect it, and you'll have some fun on this show because you know all these myths that you've read about bet the come bet because it has a lower house edge. The hard way set's the best set to avoid the 7. I mean, I've got about the top 8 myths, and we're going to dissect them and chop them up and see what our players have to say. And you'll love this show. So, all right, listen, I'll be right back with you. Let me just say goodbye to everybody. Guys, we hope you have a great summer. Win some money. All right, we'll see you after July 4th. Have a great summer. Go out to the pool. All right. Check us out on the website. If you have any questions, leave them there. And we'll be back after July 4th. And good luck at the tables, guys. That's all we can say. All right? Megan, give him a nice kiss. Love the boy. All right? I will see you next time, guys. That's a wrap.